All right, I think we're ready to roll.
You're listening to Words Like That with Cole Powell, a storytelling podcast.
All right, this is Words Like That. I'm Cole Powell. A little bit different episode today, and I got to start this thing out with the disclaimer that I am not a lawyer, and nothing I say should be taken as legal advice of any kind. Today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, copyright. And the reason that that's an important topic to me is, first, I'm a copyright holder because I am a songwriter, and I have been filing copyrights with the U.S. Copyright Office for the last 13 years on compositions and sound recordings because I don't want somebody to steal my intellectual property, which is the reason that copyright laws were originally created, to incentivize artists with legal protection. But I'm also concerned about copyright laws having been corrupted, co-opted by corporate conglomerates, and abused to allow these giant corporations to buy up and control the bulk of the world's intellectual property. And I talked about that on a previous episode, the episode about Queen selling their catalogs. You want to go check that out. And recently, I put out a video on the Randomine Records channel. If you're watching this video on the Randomine Records channel, you probably know that I do a lot of music reactions, or at least I had been doing a lot of music reactions, and the video I'm talking about that I put out was actually about why I hadn't been doing as many reactions, and the short version of that is I've just had a lot of personal stuff going on. But in the comment section on that video, we had somebody ask why we waited to make our reaction videos public until after they had cleared YouTube's copyright claim system. I had mentioned in that video that we do that, and I'd mentioned that in many videos before, explained that in comments before, and I appreciate that comment. I responded directly to that poster personally. Well, short answer, and I thought I'd like to explain a little bit more about what we see behind the curtain here. YouTube is not very transparent, so there's a lot of guesswork just going on what we see on our end and not actually knowing if this is 100% how it works. But what we reactors see on our end when we upload a reaction video, there's a giant database. As far as we know, this is how this works. A giant database with copyrighted audio and video works in it. And YouTube has an algorithm that automatically analyzes new videos that are posted and checks it against that database to see if there are any copyrighted audio and or video used in this new piece of content. And if the algorithm finds copyrighted use in there, there's an automatic restriction placed on the new video based on whatever the copyright owner or copyright manager has decided in advance that's going to be done to a video that uses their copyrighted work, if that makes sense. Music video reactions, or music reactions, whether it's a music video or just a song, are presumably legal under what's known as fair use. That's the term that's used in the U.S. I think the U.K. uses a different terminology, and I'm not sure about other territories worldwide. But in the U.S., fair use is this idea that a second party has the right to use a copyrighted work of another party for the purposes of criticism, commentary, research, education. If they transform that work into another work, all that's supposed to be legal. And that's what the argument is for the legality of reaction videos, particularly music reaction videos. So the way the automated system is set up is anti-fair use and pro-copyright holder, which I get that to a degree. And again, I'm coming at this from somebody who creates intellectual property, was creating intellectual property long before doing the YouTube reaction thing. The problem with the system, it's automatically claiming the copyrighted material. And that automatic claim, there's no person involved at that moment, but the premise of the automatic claim is that the content creator who has used a copyrighted material has done something illegal. We've used somebody else's work without permission, therefore it's illegal, and here are the restrictions that we're going to put on the video for you doing this illegal thing. Most of the time, what I see, and I think this is true for most reactors, most of the time what I see, the restriction that's placed on the video is demonetization, just meaning that the content creator cannot monetize the video that they put out that contains somebody else's copyrighted work. Occasionally, the video will be completely blocked, meaning that nobody can see it. And before I started doing these reaction videos, I had watched a lot of different reactors reacting to songs that I loved, oldies, classic rock, whatever. And I also watched some videos in which reactors talked about some of this stuff that they've seen on their end. And it was really scary for me because whenever I first started doing this, because these reactors had said, don't dispute copyright claims that can get you copyright strikes, that can get your channel deleted. And I don't want that. I don't want any kind of legal entanglements. I have been involved in court cases before, kind of peripherally, and just being involved peripherally was some of the worst experience of my life. Don't want to do any of that. And besides, I just don't want to do something illegal and morally wrong anyway. So I was very cautious about this, and when I first started putting these videos out, I would get these copyright claims, and they would be demonetized, they'd be blocked or whatever, or they'd be blocked in certain regions. And my reaction was, okay, just that's fine. You're going to let me keep the video up? Okay, great. We'll just leave it as is. But eventually, I realized that by not disputing those claims, those copyright claims, I was implicitly agreeing to the automated premise that I had done something illegal. And when I realized that, I'm still concerned about getting in legal entanglements, getting my channel deleted, getting copyright strikes. But for me, it's more concerning to have a record in which I implicitly agreed that I had broken the law than it is to be concerned about the immediate, I dispute it, and they say, no, we don't agree with your dispute, copyright strike, channel deleted. Because the reason that is, I feel like, and I've said this before in other videos, at some point, something in the modern copyright law has got to give. First of all, it's not set up for the digital world. And these genres of reaction videos where people are reacting to short form content and using the entire thing, that really hasn't been covered in law, neither in litigation or legislation that I know of. And one day something's going to happen through one of those things, litigation or legislation or both, and it could end up being really good for the reactors. There could be a legal definition saying, oh, yes, you absolutely have the right. This is fair use. You can use the entire song as a short form, as long as it's transformative, there's commentary and all this good stuff. Yes, it falls under fair use. And if that's the case, that's great. But if not, if they say, okay, actually, it doesn't fall under fair use because you've used the entire work, and consequently, all these videos that you've put out there that you now have a record that you implicitly agreed that you had broken the law by not disputing the copyright claims on them, that you could use them under fair use, and now you're going to go to jail, you're going to have a fine, you're going to do all this stuff. And I do not want to go through any of that. So I'm trying to, for my record, for myself, also for my business, because this is a record label channel that I do this on, I want to try to minimize that possibility. Even if it ends up being that fair use and music reactions are deemed that they're not fair use, that music reactions are deemed they're not fair use, and we're required to take them down or something, at least there will be, I will have at least a legal history where I say, no, look, I disputed all of these because I believed that we had the right to post these as fair use. And before we published them, we went through the dispute process, and the rights holders or the rights managers acknowledged that we had the right, or in some cases, they initially rejected and then acknowledged it on appeal, or in some cases, maybe they just ignored it, in which case they didn't defend our fair use claim, which we got it by default. So even still, that looks good on us. And then on cases where they rejected our dispute, rejected our appeal, and threatened to give us a copyright strike or make us take it down, we deleted the video. So that's the record I want to leave behind. And that's why we now wait so long, sometimes 30 days. I think the longest we've ever waited is 37 days, because we had a 30-day wait, and on the last day, the copyright manager rejected our dispute, and then we immediately appealed, and then we had to wait 7 days, and they didn't respond to that appeal. In 7 days, it cleared, and then we put it up on the channel. So that's the reason that we do it like this. And I know this is, as far as I know, this is a novel view of YouTube and copyright. I've never heard this articulated by another reactor. There may be some out there and just haven't heard. Or maybe there are some out there that have this view, but they haven't articulated it, like I really haven't until this moment. But that's the way I look at it. And I am doing whatever I can, the best I can, to have a record of good faith that, hey, we were putting these up under the belief that they were fair use. We disputed whenever we were challenged on it. Even if we lost the dispute, at least we have on record that we did dispute these things. And there's also a matter of YouTube changing their policies willy-nilly. And if they do, they oftentimes go back and retroactively hit videos for violating the new policies. That's always a danger. But again, if that happens, at least we have a record showing that we were trying to do everything legal and above board as best we know how. So that's where we are. That's my thought process. That's why I'm very careful about not publishing anything until it's clear. I hope that explains to anybody that was wondering how this stuff works, and specifically if you're a fan of our channel, where we are with this copyright stuff, where my mind is as the guy who's doing most of this stuff and run the show here. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to have more content out soon. Music, movies, TV. I still want to get into some literature here. I'm a big book guy. I want to start a book club maybe, where I'll read a big work I've never read before, and maybe people who have read the work before can reread it, and those who wanted to read it but haven't yet can join us and read that, and we'll talk about it on the show. Regardless, stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. Spotify, Apple Music, Randomine Records YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts, and we will see you soon.
Can't handle words like that. Theme Words Like That by Cole Powell. Lead in by Ryan Purser. From Wicked Woman by Four-Way Stop. Original cover photo by Kelly Bagwell. Recorded at Randomine Records. Section 107 of U.S. copyright law allows for the fair use of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, parody, or research.